Hey there, folks. I'm Isaac, and I'm developing Rain Punk engines.
And I'm Claire, and I'm on the Sims to Dollhouse pipeline.
Oh. Wait, and this is...
Make
That Game!
Where we pitch the latest,
The greatest.
new video game ideas.
That won't ever get made.
Never, ever, ever.
I always try to banter with the introductions.
Yeah.
I always think... I always like banter during the introductions. Or not always. I've been better about it lately, but like this time it caught me again. Where I'm like, oh, that's something that we could banter about. And
We're allowed to banter.
no, but it delays the whole sequence and throws everyone off. And
Yeah, we gotta banter after we say make that game. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Sims to Dollhouse. So when I initially heard that, I thought that there was a new game you were playing called Dollhouse.
No, I was talking to one of my fellow Dollhouse hobbyists, and we both
about the Sims.
We were both obsessed with the Sims, and we're like, I don't think it's an accident that we both ended up making dollhouses.
They're the same game. I mean, one's a real life hobby, but you know what I mean by calling them the same game. They're the same game.
I know what you mean.
They're the same game. Everybody knows that. They're the same game.
Yeah.
Listener, I'm going to describe for you a change.
I'm not the listener, so I don't know why I said okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
In our environment, we have shifted. We have shifted 7 feet from the position we normally podcast from, and now you can't see that.
But hope you can feel it.
You can feel it, and I wanted to let you know that you are feeling correctly. There is a difference.
You might be able to hear the difference. I don't know.
Oh yeah, how are the acoustics, listener?
It might
Email
be worse.
us.
But I am gonna put up the soundproofing.
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna. It's a work in progress.
I talk about feng shui a lot on the podcast, surprisingly, because it's a video game podcast. But
does that have anything to do with Sims and Dollhouse?
I mean, I guess a little bit, but the energy is better for sure. I think.
Okay. Yes, the energy is swelling in our current location. Yeah. So what do we do here?
Here we pitch game ideas.
No. That's what we pitched over there. What do we pitch here?
Oh, in this location?
In the new location.
The new 7 feet away location?
What do we do here, specifically?
Same thing.
What?
Yeah.
Why would we even move location if we're just going to do the same thing?
I just told you for the feng shui, for the
Oh
chi,
my God, this is so confusing. Listener, if you're not following this, don't worry. Neither am I. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
We used to be in a path of travel. We used to be back
now
to
we're
a
in
door.
A corner.
A nice corner. A corner of power.
Okay. Oh, yes, there is some of my wargames models down there, so very
where
powerful.
Where aren't your wargames models?
In this room, nowhere. There is no location that is free from them. Okay, we still pitch games. If this is the listener's first episode, what do we mean by that?
Yeah, so we each come up with a game idea during the week, or 5 minutes before, depending on how we're feeling that day. And
sometimes while you're talking.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I don't think I've actually ever done that.
Oh well, that's an Isaac special.
Okay. Well, we'll.
If you know what to look for, you can tell. You can tell when it is.
Re-listen to our entire catalog and let us know which ones you think Isaac came up with while I was pitching a game. But yeah, so we have game ideas. We haven't told them to each other before, so these are fresh.
Oh, wait, sorry. To be clear, not while you're pitching your game. Sometimes while you're pitching your game, but sometimes when I ask you what we do here, that's me delaying to give me enough time for when you say, what's your game idea?
I thought you meant I was literally like, that's why I go first all the time, because you're coming up with a game idea.
No.
But yeah, we'll pitch them, and then we ditch them, which means we just don't really talk about them ever again.
We don't make them.
No.
We ask you to make them. That's why the title is Make That Game. That's an imperative to you.
Yeah, so this is a whole other introduction to the podcast.
If you're not here to make a game, what are you doing here?
Well, they're allowed to be here.
Yeah, you're allowed to casually listen. You don't have to be a hardcore competitive listener.
Yeah, the competitive listeners, they're already making the games, okay?
Yeah, they're halfway done with the ones we're about to pitch right now.
What you might not know is this is actually a secret reality show where people are making games, and it's a contest. And
if you make the best one, you win.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Do you have a game idea to pitch?
I do.
To show them how it's done?
I do.
Okay. Hit me.
It is called...
I've already ditched it.
Oh.
I'm kidding. No.
That's so sad.
No, that's what we do here.
Yeah, but you hyped me up. I was getting into it. You can't just ditch it.
It was a joke. It was a bit. It's so funny. It's very funny. Everyone's laughing.
I was going to say I'm not laughing, but I'm like audibly laughing.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you can't trick them.
Lewis isn't laughing. Lewis is the cat. He's not laughing.
He's meowing more forlornly at the top of the stairs saying, why can't I be down in the Forbidden Palace?
He wants to be down here so much. Okay. My game is called Spend All the Money.
Oh.
And it's going to look like Skeezy or like Untitled Goose Game.
Oh, okay. I thought you said skeezy, like it was going to look skeezy.
No, which I guess, how would you describe that look? Like not low resolution.
So low poly.
Low poly, that's the word.
Low texture, because not a lot of things have like texture. There are a lot of single colors.
Yes, like Untitled Goose.
Very
the goose
simple.
Does not have feathers, right?
No, it's just pure white with some shadows. So it's definitely both of them. Both of them were cell shaded. Is that graphical style? Well, I'm not sure if you would call it a graphical style or just a method of rendering, but yeah. Since it's a lot of simple, like just adds a color and shadow to an object, and like maybe has like the hint of texture like a cartoonist would.
Yeah. So that's the look.
Yeah.
And the idea is you're playing as a character who has $1 million, and you have like, well, I guess this is kind of a roguelike because it's run based.
Oh, we've learned what a roguelike is, and we're going crazy with power now. So
each run you have a certain amount of time, maybe let's say 5 minutes, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Whatever. And you have to spend your $1 million. And so you have like a town.
Okay.
And you have to spend it. And so it's like, it's supposed to like, I guess showcase how much $1 million really is. I don't know. I just feel like
it's a game with a point.
A little, but then it's also fun, because the idea is that each run, the idea is it'll be hard.
Yes.
And so each run you have to like discover new things to spend money on.
I actually really like this because like it's very much like a roguelite. Like it already feels to me like Nuclear Throne or Turnip Boy Robs a Bank.
It's a little Turnip Boy Robs a Bank is like pretty. It's like the opposite. Instead of gaining money, you're spending money.
Yeah, and instead of combat, like some of those games are like bullet hells, where there's a lot of bullets flying around, and that's like the difficulty, and there's so much happening, and you have to be fast and stuff. But you still have to be fast in this, but it's not like combat is the difficulty. Right. It's navigating and figuring out the path in real time mentally.
Right.
Like how to get to the highest yield spending places.
Maybe it'd be a little longer of a run because I'm like...
It's got to be more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If you've got an entire town, I mean, it's...
Maybe like 15 minutes? I don't know. Or is that too long?
So you could make the time be the score, and you could have infinite time, but there's like a leaderboard. Because like Nuclear Throne is a roguelite that I didn't have you play. It has daily and weekly, I think, missions, which are certain. Everyone plays like the same.
Oh, interesting.
Seed of generation, and the fastest ones get up on the leaderboard. And so you could do it, and then that way, like a more casual player can actually spend their $1 million, even if it takes them 30 minutes. But the hardcore players don't have to sit there and like run down a 30-minute timer.
I don't know. I think I want to keep the idea is that it's like fast though. Like
okay.
I don't want you to actually be able to spend infinite time
exploring and plotting and
yeah, because that kind of defeats the purpose. Like it's supposed to be that each time you can gain new information too. So like, oh, I found this shortcut, I'm going to use that. Now I can spend more here. Or like, oh, I found this jewelry store, I can spend a ton of money here. Like you take that knowledge with you for the next run.
Oh, so it's the same map multiple times?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that okay? Do you hate it now?
No, I was just imagining it being because. So.
I mean, I guess it has to. I guess for it be like, well, think about Turnip Boy. That's like kind of the same map every time, but not also. It's a combo.
Yes.
I kind of like imagine it like that. Like maybe the store you enter is different, but the store location is the same.
Okay. And so you know the location of the stores, and you've got to go to each store and figure out if you can spend enough money there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I would say game design wise, I would not set it up so that there's like one store where you could spend all your $1 million.
Right.
That's not fun.
You have to do a bunch. Now I'm thinking about it more in the sense of like a randomizer sense. Like a Legend of Zelda randomizer. Because when you play a Legend of Zelda randomizer, for example, there's a lot of different games that have randomizers, but like the map, the Legend of Zelda map. It's the same map you've played 1,000,000 times, but the location of all the items are different every time. So like people who are good at randomizers, they know the number one, like the easiest places to check to get like items that allow them to progress forward. So like a low skilled or new randomizer runner will just like, okay, I know that there's a dungeon over here. I'm going to go check that dungeon and I'm going to see what the treasure chest is in there. But like a high skill one might be like, all right, it is most likely in order to get the key to open up dungeon 5 or whatever. There's 3 different locations. I'm going to go check those 3 out first. They're always easy access, like that kind of thing. And then it's about optimizing like the paths of the easiest possible to get to start locations, etc.
Yeah.
But each time those things are different. So like one run, you might not get like the progress item you were expecting and have to figure out, okay, what's the next tier of like accessible places?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically that, yeah.
Okay. Yes.
I was like, I feel like, it might be over describing it, but yes.
That's what I do here.
That's true.
That's what I do.
I mean, I guess that's what a speedrunner of this game would be doing, is optimizing that kind of thing. But that's the game. That's pretty simple, cute, fun, a bit of a nod to thinking about capitalism.
Yeah, we love capitalism.
No,
well, so
say that.
I have some questions, if I may.
Okay, all right.
So, when you buy items, do they go into an inventory or anything?
No.
Okay, so you just run into a store and fake buy, like you give them money.
I mean, they give you the thing, but like it doesn't matter.
Okay, so you don't have to manage like.
No.
I can't carry 50 Ferraris in my pocket.
Okay, saying it that way, that's actually really funny.
Yeah.
And also that means that if you do buy a car, then the car could help you drive around because you can't carry the car. I like that because I was kind of thinking, I was like, well, if you had a jewelry store, like in real life, you probably could spend $1 million just buying everything in the jewelry. Like that wouldn't be that hard. So that's like, oh man, but yeah, you can't like have that much on you. So
and like having things actually have effects in game too.
And then you
could be that could be like a progress locker to stop you from just going, like maybe you can spend a ton of money at the jewelry store, but in order to enter the jewelry store you need a fancy suit, so you need to find the fancy suit store.
You gotta buy like a suitcase so you can carry all your stuff. I don't know, things like that.
And like car is a big spend, and it also helps you get around faster.
Yeah,
but it might be in an out of the way location.
And this would take a lot of math people because I don't want to do the math, but just to make sure it's all priced out so that it's not too easy. So things would probably be cheaper than in real life.
You could have a fun little like menu setting that's like the difficulty setting, but it's inflation.
Oh, yeah. That's
and
funny.
so you could set high inflation, so all the price, like 200% inflation, so everything's double the price normally, and that's easy mode. And then you have you have negative % inflation, so everything's less expensive, and that's hard mode. You have more buying power with your $1 million. No,
that's good.
Nice. All right. And what was its name again?
Spend all the money. I think that's what I called it.
Spend all the money.
Spend all the money.
Wow.
If it's not what I said before, it's what I'm saying now.
Yeah, you already ditched the original idea, listener, right? So name. So this is the new name.
Immediately. All right. Well, anyway, that was my game, and now it's Isaac's turn to tell me a game idea.
Okay.
That he may or may not have come up with while we did the introduction.
Okay.
No, it's okay. It's allowed.
You need, in order for me to tell you this game idea, I need you to tell me the name of it.
Right now?
Yes.
Lego Tap Dance. Lego Tap Dancer.
Okay. All right. So Lego Tap Dancer is my idea. It is so I am struggling on defining this. I'm not 100% certain if this would be enough to be considered like a real-time strategy game, or if this is more of a tower defense. And I know those are deeply related genres, but it's probably more of a tower defense than anything else. My idea here is once again trying to capture the magic of war games on the personal computer.
You try so hard.
I try so hard and it never succeeds. And part of the problem is in a war game, a lot of the time I also mentally think to myself, how could I bring the magic of RTSs to a war game? But they're inherently incompatible because RTSs is about like building up resources and then building an army, and like if you lose a unit, you can buy a new unit.
I don't know. I feel like now I want to do that. Now I want to help you figure out how to bring RTSs to wargaming. My gears are turning.
Oh, wow. Well, that'll be a bonus episode where we make that war game rather than make that implied video game.
That's true. We don't have to be video games. We've talked about this before.
We have, but we've never tried to like break that barrier.
We came close.
I think a lot of our copy specifically does say video game.
Well, you have to have a niche.
That's right.
But
that's right.
2 weeks ago, we did talk about escape rooms instead of video games.
That's true.
I don't know.
I did spend a lot of effort to bring it back to video games, though, because that's apparently what I do.
It was your idea to talk about
it
escape
was.
rooms, so. Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Go back to your game.
Okay, so the idea here is, so to finish like describing like why war games and RTSs aren't as similar as they seem. So like the RTS, like you build resources, you build units, like you can repeatedly recreate units that die usually. If you get your entire army wiped out, you just go back to the barracks and you click build swordsman 15 more times, and now you've got 15 more swordsmen after a couple of minutes. War games, you show up at the table with a set army, and you, for the most part, you show up with a set army and then you play that army. If a unit dies, you probably aren't going to get that unit back over the course of the game unless you're like the undead faction, and like the necromancer can summon units back. The idea for this RTS/tower defense is you kind of have your wargame collection of units or models or whatever. You pick from them to do a mission, which is to fight against waves and waves of enemies. Once you've selected your team, you load into the map, and then you get a small phase where you position where the units are going to stand, at least initially. Part of it that makes it more of an RTS than a tower defense is a tower defense, usually your tower would be a tower, an immobile building. In this, as the events are happening, as the waves are coming and you're mowing them down and shooting them and blasting them with space marines or whatever, you can actually move them around the battlefield and reposition them as the tactical situation calls for. But that is generally going to be like a slow thing. It's not you're not supposed to be able to the initial kind of deployment is supposed to matter a lot. Like there's going to be phases in between waves of enemies where like you can redeploy, and that's like the intended time. If you're moving during like the actual combat, that usually means that you messed up in the deployment section where you initially decided to place your guys or gals. Or it's not machines.
Yeah.
Non-binaries. I don't know why I called them
non-binary machines.
No, that was 4 separate things.
Okay.
That was guys, gals, non-binaries, and machines.
Okay.
When I said guys, I was like, well, no, there could be
any gender available in your game.
Yes, there could be many different things. But okay. That's the game. Did I make sense this time? I didn't. Huh.
I mean, you might have made sense. I'll say it's just it's very hard for me to focus on this kind of game. I'm trying. I'm sitting there and I'm like, and you move them around.
Yeah, and they shoot
instead of not moving them around.
Yeah.
So have
you ever played Bloons?
What?
Have you ever played Bloons?
Balloons?
No, Bloons. Bloon.
No, I have not played Bloons.
That's like a pretty famous, like, layman, normie tower defense.
Okay.
most tower defenses I know of are like Warcraft 3 maps, like mods within a game that is itself a niche. So like, I'm not going to ask you, have you ever played Poker TD?
What if I was like, yeah, that's
yeah.
No, I don't
ever played Gems?
I truly don't think I've ever played a tower defense game.
My brother out there is listening, and he's like, I have played every tower defense map in StarCraft, StarCraft 2, and Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
This game's for you, buddy. But yeah, that's my game. I'm sorry for ranting about a game that doesn't make sense.
It does make sense. It does make sense. It does make sense. Clearly, I got it. I described it back to you. I guess because I don't have the context of what a regular tower defense is, it's hard for me to see the game like
Plants
how
vs.
varied.
Zombies.
No.
I
really don't think I've ever played a tower defense.
Oh man, I'm racking my brain here.
Yeah, well maybe that's the next stream. Tower defense.
I have Claire play a bunch of tower defense games. I would have to find some. I don't own any.
Oh, okay. Well, then we don't want to.
Except for the ones that exist as maps within other games.
Unless people are going to give us money, I don't want to buy.
Yeah, donate money, send us money.
We don't really have a place to.
We don't have a method for that, but if enough people email us, they're
wanting to give us money, we'll set it up for you.
We'll set it up so that you can give us money, and then we will play games that cost us money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
that's my game. Okay. It's called Legos Tap Dancers.
Yeah. Sorry, there are Legos up there, and I just saw the Legos. I was like, yeah. Without knowing what it's about, I just got to work with my environment.
That's true. On some level, the Legos aspect does work. I can imagine Lego characters. Running around.
Lego video games. We should maybe do a episode talking about them because they're fun. And cool.
Yeah, we could talk about what makes them fun for us. That's kind of like a honk and bonk, but more of a breakdown. I don't know.
Isaac made a really good face for that. Like, you're thinking about it. You're really thinking about.
I think real hard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that means we're now going to do a discussion.
Okay.
I want to talk about mini games.
Okay.
This is inspired by an article from Polygon that I skimmed. So
you only skimmed it? Okay.
I forgot to go back. I wanted to go back and read the whole thing, but I didn't. So I just want to make that perfectly clear. And basically they were talking about the game in Witcher.
Gwent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just used it as info to come to the table with like what is the best use case for a mini game in game design? Like why would we put it in there and how would you ideally want people to be using it?
So mini games are best to give big quotes around that big scare quotes, because obviously we are talking about a very subjective field. So we always like to throw in there
that's the transparency.
Yeah, that's the transparency. We say things like best a lot, and we really mean best for us. Always imagine a for us in there when we say something is not objectively good. When we say something is like good or great, it's usually big subjective.
Usually,
like, yeah. There are some aspects of game design where like you could say this is just objectively bad or good.
Like the book that I read for book club was objectively bad.
Yeah,
I think because if every single person hated it,
then
it's bad.
Maybe, yeah.
Sorry, that's on my mind.
So mini games for me, it is used to give a small diversion from the main gameplay loop. We've talked about gameplay loops before. That's just, the what you are going to do repeatedly to like progress in the game. You fight an enemy, you gain a level, you fight a stronger enemy, you gain another level, you fight a stronger, et cetera, et cetera. Like that's the gameplay loop of like an RPG. In very big games like RPGs, where you are going to be fighting enemies, gaining levels, a whole lot that can get grindy, it might be fun to go play the Yakuza kart racing game for a little bit. And like they give you little incentives. They're like, okay, you can get items if you play Yakuza kart racing. That feeds into the main gameplay loop. Like, you win a bronze star race, you get a soda, and you can use the soda to heal yourself in battle. Okay, cool. I think that's a good use of minigames. Another good use of minigames is if your game doesn't have much of like a gameplay loop, like gameplay. If it's like an adventure game.
Like Life is Strange.
Yeah. Yes. You throw in mini games to give a little bit of extra engagement at like key points, because like if all you're doing is walking around and like clicking dialogue options, some people can get engaged with that, but some people can't. But if you make it so like, oh, you click a dialogue option and now there's like a little mini game that represents like the verbal battle you're having with your enemy, and it gives you like a little Space Invaders mini game or something.
Well, that's not how it works, but that would be cool.
No, that's not like the Life is Strange example, but this is a random example that might not even associate to a real game. But
I mean, okay, I would argue that the example that you just made up completely wouldn't necessarily be a mini game, because it seems like you'd have to complete that in order to solve the main game. Because I think a key definition for me for a mini game is, unless you are trying to 100%, you should not have to ever do it. That's kind of part of how I define it. Is like it shouldn't be required. Like, so the mini game in Life is Strange, I was thinking of is in Life is Strange 3. The brother has 3 arcade games, and you can actually play those games. But if you don't play the games, you're not going to miss anything.
Yes.
And like, yeah, like some things might give you items, but they should be items that aren't like necessary to play the main game. And again, if it's 100%ing, that's fine. But otherwise, I feel like a mini game has to be not part of the main. Like, you should be able to complete the game without doing it.
So my question on that is, in Link's Awakening,
yeah,
early on there is a claw game. That you have to play in order to get the stick, in order to get the beehive, in order to get the bananas eventually to the monkeys, to build you a bridge, to get the golden leaves, to give to Richard.
Oh, I didn't think
to get to level
right. Okay, yes.
3 or 4. Is the claw game, in your definition, a mini game or nah?
I would say no, because you need the items in order to progress in the game.
Okay.
All right. I would say it could transform into a mini game once you do that, because you can go back and keep playing, and now it's no longer part of the story. It's been
okay. All right.
Pushed to a new category.
This. I don't know if I can get behind this definition.
Really?
No,
I thought this was obvious.
Because it morphs. Only because it morphs.
Then never mind. Then I'll just say straight up no. Then I'll just keep it as a straight up no. It's not a mini game.
Okay, I would still consider that a mini game. I think anything that is
I don't know,
outside of the main gameplay loop.
No, to me, if you have to do it in order to progress, it can't be a mini game.
Okay.
That's going to be my firm stance. And if you don't want me to let it transform, then I'm just going to be on that side of the line.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. Okay. So then that, I guess my point, or my second thing of using mini games to spice up gameplay in a less gameplay environment
still works, though. I don't know. I saw that
but it's not a mini game at that point.
Well, no, because in Life is Strange, I mean, you can choose to play it, but if you are kind of craving, like, I just want to shoot something right now in a video game.
Well, that's case 1 that I was talking about.
Right.
That's completely outside of any gameplay loop. It's just something that you do in game,
but
that
also
breaks up, like that stops you from grinding the main gameplay loop and gives you a little in-game diversion.
Yeah.
That's the Yakuza kart racing and baseball mini games and stuff. That's Yakuza has one where you can try to get a high score for peeing in the toilets.
Oh boy.
And it's got like little targets that you hit, and
oh man.
Anyways, yeah, whereas I was going into like,
you're thinking kind of like in Pokemon Scarlet Violet, where you had to like roll the big olive. And you would count that as like a mini game because it's breaking up the Scarlet Violet gameplay loop.
Yeah.
And now that I think
in a way, like all of those gyms I would consider
mini games
because they all like are outside of the main gameplay loop.
I mean,
even though you do have to do them to progress, they're all like games within the game, like hide and seek and stuff.
You know, thinking about it that way, it makes me want to expand my definition.
The Simon Says mini game.
Yeah, it makes me want to expand my definition, because I will say that those mini games saved my life out there. And I was so sick of playing Pokemon. I was so happy to do literally anything else.
Wow.
I loved them. And so in that sense, I do want to grant more leeway to what a minigame is, because I needed that so much.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're just outside of the gameplay loop. But I do think there should be a separate category maybe of mini games where they're just like truly there for the game and not to progress you through the.
That's true.
Or for the mini game, not the game, I guess.
That's fair. All right. Yeah, I'll give you that. Maybe there's a different categorization that we can do there, but for right now, let's just call them all mini games.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I feel like we hashed out some.
I have
you
more.
Have more? Oh, okay. Please.
Yeah, because I would say a game like Undertale has 2 games, and I would even say even more than that, 3 games. Because like you've never played Undertale, have you? Okay, so every combat, it's a walkie-talkie. It's a game that's mostly about walking around and like talking with people.
Okay.
But it's also like a classic RPG like Final Fantasy or Pokemon, in that like you sometimes will get in a fight and it will be turn-based and you'll choose the attack command, and like even that has like a little mini game of there will be a bar that like appears and a line moving across it, and if you get the line in the center of the bar, you do more damage than if you hit on the outside of the bar. I would call that a mini game integral to the gameplay loop, but it's like a mini game itself to hit anything. But even then, enemy attacks are, they put you into a little, and I'm going to use a term that will hurt some people's souls, a little Space Invaders mini game, where like bullets will come down, like you're stuck in a little box, you're a little heart, and you have to dodge the attacks actually as like a bunch of bullets or whatever fly down at you, sort of like Space Invaders. That is another video game, I would say, and it's also a primary part of the gameplay loop. And in addition to that, it also has the minigame of every battle, pretty much, you can find a way to end it non-violently. You don't have to attack and defeat your enemies. You can compliment them, and then they'll stop fighting you and walk away. And that minigame is finding out the correct commands within the battle menu to use to get them on like friendly.
Okay.
And that I would say is a even more mini game. And then in addition to that, it also has some other like explicit mini games, mostly like puzzles that you solve, that like kind of break up the gameplay loop a little bit. But yeah, like that's a game that has like 4 games within itself, but the primary game itself is, I don't know where I was going with that sentence, but yeah, I just wanted to talk about like that case, because there are games that do that, where like every system
is essentially a mini game.
And it keeps a lot of variety, like, you know,
keeping it fresh.
It keeps it fresh. You walk around for 5 minutes, you talk to 5 guys, and then a battle starts, and then the battles you basically choose between whether you're going to engage in the I'm going to attack people like bar quick time event kind of mini game, and the I'm going to see what I can do to talk them out of fighting me mini game. Those are like mutually exclusive, but there's a ton going on.
Yep. This also made me think of the Kirby and Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. Return to Dreamland 2 Deluxe. What?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Re-Deluxe. I don't know. It has a bunch of mini games.
Yeah, but they're structured in like I don't say obviously, but I feel like, well, there's sometimes I would say mini games and platformers, but not a lot in Kirby. But Kirby in this game can go to a completely separate location. Like you have to load it all up, and then it's just like a sea of mini games you can choose
like an
from.
arcade,
right? And I kind of like that, and I will use it as, I guess, a palate cleanser. Like I'll usually play levels, and then when I'm getting ready to stop playing video games, I'm like, I'll just play a couple of these, and then play like 30 minutes of those. So it is fun, and it almost feels like it's like designed to keep you going too. Like you just want to keep playing.
That's like case 1. Like you played the main gameplay loop a couple times. You kind of got bored of it, but you didn't quite want to stop playing Kirby, so you play some mini games. And that keeps you invigorated to then engage with the main gameplay loop like 1 or 2 more times.
Yeah. And I love the mini games in there. They're really good. There's one where Kirby got to eat a bunch of eggs.
Oh boy. Good. Does he then hatch them and spit them out?
Yeah, he spits out little chickies.
Horrifying
and cute at the same time, which is why we love him. Anyway.
Yeah, what's next?
Well, now that we've talked about mini games, it's time to talk about other games that we're going to make. I know, we already did 2. Not make. We're going to talk about.
Yeah, no, we are just going to describe to you.
It's called the Rapid Fire Round. We're going to generate 3 random words. We have 5 minutes to come up with a game idea based on only those 3 words and also a game name. All right, I'm ready with the 3 words.
All right, I'm going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
The words are cave, reflect, rifle.
Reflect rifle is my favorite gun in video games. It's in a bunch of video games under different names, but I'm just using it to refer to any rifle which usually shoots laser beams and they bounce off of like walls.
Wow.
And caves are filled with walls. So this is a game where it's a run and gun.
Okay.
A la Cave Story or Contra.
Oh, of course.
Basically a platformer where the focus is on shooting rather than jumping.
Okay. It's weird that a cave game would be a platformer, though, because caves are kind of famously long and short versus tall.
See, well, here's the thing. Caves make the ideal platformer because it is one of the few locations where it's almost realistic for like the platformer setup of here's a bunch of like different things to jump on. Whereas normally platformers are like they've given up. They're just like, here's some blocks in the air. Jump on those blocks.
I see. So you're saying because caves have like rock walls, it's like, you can actually jump on this real thing, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So caves to me make the most sense for platformers. So you are a person in a cave. You have a gun that shoots lasers that reflect off things. And you use that to both battle enemies and solve puzzles because it gives you like that laser puzzle format of like, here's a room with a bunch of mirrors in it.
Yeah.
Arrange the mirrors to shoot the target to open the door,
I also think that it should be that you can get hit by your own laser in this.
Oh, yeah. So you also have to be planning that because, if the reflect rifle...
Yeah, and I picture this looking like very 8-bit pixel art.
Yes.
And so when you get hit by your own laser, it's just a funny, like you just kind of just like lay down.
It instantly kills you?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Does it instantly kill all of your enemies, or are you just the weakest person in the room?
No, it instantly kills all your enemies. Well,
okay.
I mean, maybe like just like any platformer, most enemies I feel like are one shot, and then there's a couple that are like 2. Like you might have to do 2 jumps if you're playing Mario. You jump on their head twice. But like, I think that's what we're at, and then you die instantly. But maybe you can get like armor, so it knocks your armor off.
And the armor blasts away.
Just like Mario. Again, he eats a mushroom, he gets hit with something, you still get to keep playing. He's just small.
Temporary power-up that gives you mirror armor.
Yes,
so that your
really
laser
good.
bounces off of you.
Okay, I want to play this game. This game sounds great.
Oh no, we've come up with our best idea.
What are we gonna call it? Spelunking. It's got a spelunk into the mirror.
I feel like there's a really like evocative name that we could come up with here.
Okay.
Mirror on the cave wall. Nope, that's terrible. I'm sorry, everyone, for making it seem like I had something going on. I was going to say,
is the in-depth name in the room with us?
No, it is not. I wish it was.
Okay, deep into the heart of the reflective cave.
Oh my God. I was actually thinking more in like Downwell. Downwell, I feel, is a very evocative name, and it kind of tells you what's going on.
Okay. I'm thinking. I'm processing.
Okay.
I don't have anything. I'm trying to think of all the different words like reflection, like echo cave.
Reflexed. It's like reflect, but the C is replaced with an
I like
X.
that. I think that evokes what we want it to evoke.
Yeah.
It does make me think of acid reflux, but I think that's okay.
That's a second. The cave is actually a monster.
No, we already did that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to call us done with reflexed. a laser. It's 40 seconds left on the clock. It's
a
laser shooting gun game.
But yeah, we already made one about acid reflux where you're in a tummy and you're trying to avoid acid reflux.
All
Guys,
right.
this is a good podcast. Please listen to it.
Yeah. All right, next 3 words. 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Tribe, equip, pity.
Okay. So some kind of, I don't know if it's going to be real-time strategy or turn-based, like you manage a tribe. Okay. You manage all of their equipment and stuff. You have direct control of everyone in that sense. So you distribute, I'm thinking like Final Fantasy Tactics, maybe, actually, that being a turn-based strategy game.
TBSG.
Pity. I don't 100% know.
Pity is hard to capture in gameplay,
yeah.
I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go dark with it, but I don't want to.
So I'm kind of thinking, all right, in Final Fantasy Tactics, I'm using as my primary inspiration here. You move around the world map, and sometimes there's like a random battle. And to start every battle, it gives you like a little deployment area where you choose which people in your party you're going to send into this battle. I'm thinking maybe like in that section, you get a readout of like the enemy force that you're about to encounter. And in another game called Total War, like in the pre-battle phase, it shows you like your army versus their army, and there's an auto battle option that will tell you how the computer thinks this battle would play out. And you can pick it if you don't want to go through the entire battle. And you usually only pick it if you have like if it's like, okay, you are guaranteed almost to win this. So I think that if you are in that like pre-battle screen, shows the difference in power between your two forces, and if you are so much more powerful than them, you have a pity option.
Okay, all right.
Which you give them items, spare equipment, to bring it back to our 3 words. Give them spare equipment of yours, even though they're supposed to be trying to battle you.
Right.
And then depending on how good equipment you give them, it like rolls a dice in the background or something. And it gives you a better chance of them just joining your tribe.
Oh, nice.
And expanding your tribe.
Okay.
But then the downside is if you miss that dice roll, or if they weren't actually weak enough, maybe now you have to fight a more powerful enemy. Like you don't get to instantly resolve that. I think part of
the downfall too is like you don't get, like, you're getting the weaker crew.
Yeah, it's weaker people, but this is how you expand, because even, weak people might be able to become stronger.
I was going to say that. Weak people can become stronger. That's a quote from a really awesome TV show.
Called Avatar: The Last Airbender live action, the Netflix version.
Presented by Nickelodeon.
All right, so what's the name of our game? Besides Avatar: The Last Airbender, presented by Zuko's Quest.
I just keep thinking of the song from Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's like, God help the outcast. It's basically all about like, oh, people are so sad all the time. Why are they sad?
Okay.
I can't think of a. That's just what's going on in my head right now.
All right.
Poor Unfortunate Souls, the video game.
Oh, but yes, it's Poor Unfortunate Souls is the name of this game.
Okay.
Yeah. Which like doesn't even really have any like
no.
Like it sort of has to do with the pity point, but also I feel like that's a good name for a video game in general, especially a game where you play like a party.
Yeah.
Like in this case a tribe of characters, cuz like then it immediately tells you the story is going to be like a little on the darker side. You're going to be playing some downtrodden people, maybe rising up against something. That's an evocative name.
I mean, that is the name of a Disney song. So.
Oh, well.
Did you not know that?
No, I didn't.
Wow. It is an evocative name. It's the name of a song from Little Mermaid.
Well, we're going to use it. We've got 30 seconds left.
All right. Send that lawsuit over. No, please don't.
They can't sue a video game for using a name of one of their songs, can they? It's different.
Yeah, but I feel like Disney would figure out a way. Like, if anyone's going to sue you for that, I would say...
Like, they might just send a lawyer,
a cease and desist,
because they can pay lawyers to do frivolous things, whereas it costs you money. So maybe this is not a game that you can make,
right?
Well,
if
we
you do
still
make
encourage
it,
you to
if you do make
game.
it, I would say come up with a different title.
I really like the title.
I know,
Poor
but
Unfortunate Souls.
I did it after a Little Mermaid song, and I thought you would know that.
I'm so sad that name is taken.
I'm sorry. I feel bad using it. And I thought you would know immediately because I was already referencing Disney movies, and it's a really famous song.
But we weren't talking about Little Mermaid at all, and I've only seen it once. I've only seen Little Mermaid once.
It's just a really
okay. All right.
Anyway,
before I fall into despair,
I ruined it. I'm so sorry.
I've got another
say
5.
a copyrighted thing ever again.
I've already got 5 minutes on the clock. Let's get this started. 3, 2, 1, go.
Departure, Valley, Jealous.
Every time we get a word that's like an emotion like that, the only thing I can think of, it's another talkie game. It's another click a dialogue game.
Hey, we got Pity and we didn't do that. So
that's true.
That's pretty cool.
But like Pity, I only was able to come up with that because I've been playing Total War recently, and it has like the auto battle thing.
I still feel bad now that I ruined it. I ruined it.
No, we got to move on. We're moving on. We've ditched it. Departure, like this just sounds like a little narrative adventure game. Like it's your last day in the valley you grew up with.
Okay.
And you're departing.
And everyone's jealous of you for leaving.
Maybe some people are jealous. Like you just get to go around and talk to all these characters, and they tell you all their emotions about it, and you get dialogue choices, and then.
Well, there has to be like a mystery or something to solve. You can't just.
I mean, it doesn't have to be.
How about
this could be a short game?
No. How about your boat that you're leaving on? Because I feel like this is like oldie times.
Okay. Do you often leave valleys by boats? I guess River Valley is a thing.
Okay. But it's been sabotaged by someone who's jealous that you're leaving. So you have to then interview all the townspeople.
Okay. All right.
To figure out who did it.
Okay.
And that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to stick with.
All right. And it's a clicky talkie game?
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what you said too. Yeah. But I just added a little spice.
You added a little spice to it. Okay. All right. Is there any unique thing that happens in the process of the clicky talkie? Because sometimes we come up with games like where clicky talkie is a little bit more than clicky talkie.
Right.
Like there's a mini game associated with it.
I'm trying to think like. Maybe no, I don't got. I'm sorry. I was like their eyes could glow green as you get them more angry.
Life is Strange, True Colors.
Yeah.
Also takes place in a valley, I'm pretty sure.
Colorado
Valley. Is that nothing?
I don't think that's
Is Colorado Valley not a thing?
I mean, can you be in a valley and be a mile above the sea?
Yes, because there can be dirt. There can be land below the sea. There's valleys below sea level, aren't there?
No, because then they would be wet.
Not if they're inland.
No. No.
There's not just a water plane. In video games, that's literally how it works. There's in like Morrowind World Editor, there's a water plane where everything below a certain point is water.
No.
But
I don't think we can have things that are below sea level.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get to that.
We've got 2 minutes left. We're going to look it up afterwards.
Yes.
Let's come up with a name.
Okay.
Colorado Valley Sunshine.
Okay, so it does take place in Colorado. All right, Colorado Valley Sunshine. I actually love that.
Yeah, there we go.
And then the trick thing is that you're in Colorado.
Sorry, I meant to say sunset. Is that as good as sunshine?
No, I like sunshine.
Okay, all right.
Colorado Valley Sunshine.
Okay.
And that's the game.
Okay, 1 minute and 30 seconds left.
All right.
I'm going to look up, can a valley be below sea level?
Okay, fine.
Okay, so you believe me?
Yeah, Badwater Basin is the lowest point in North America at 86 meters below sea level.
Oh, that's part of Death Valley.
So.
Okay. Is there water in Death Valley?
No. There probably used to be.
At some point.
Colorado.
Sometimes I think there is water. Isn't there like shrimp that live in Death Valley or something? And
Maybe?
When it rains once every 13 years.
The
fairy shrimp.
Yeah.
No, that's I mean, it might exist in Death Valley, but that was Burning Man mud flats. Okay. Is Burning Man mud flats? Am I just making stuff up? Where does Burning Man happen?
Oh, that was right. Well, no, it's not mud. It's not called the mud flats. They turned into mud. It was something flats.
Okay.
And because
mud flats is like a type of terrain, though. But I don't think the place where Burning Man takes place is normally referred to as mud flats, except for when it muds.
Burning Man is 4,000 feet above sea level.
Wow. How did water get there?
Ooh, water falls on mountains.
Water exists exactly at sea level and under.
No, that's not.
You can't have.
I mean, to be fair, Colorado is pretty dry. Like the only place that
it's a dry heat.
The only place we could, the only place we could go swimming was a man-made reservoir. So.
All right. Well, that's okay. Look, one of the best places to go swimming where I grew up, which is not dry, was also a man-made reservoir. So.
All right.
And granted, we did have other options. For example, Sylvan Beach, where you can go to Harpoon Eddie's World Renowned.
Harpoon Eddie.
All right, we're getting goofy. We gotta end this.
We gotta end this, but we hope you had a really good time. Thank you so much for listening. Please give us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes or Spotify if you feel that is deserved.
Or any other app.
Yeah,
that gives reviews.
I think those are the two that do, but if you know of one that does, please do. Yeah, that's fine too.
If you just want to make a blog post that gives us a 5-star review, also works.
Yeah, also shout out to our Overcast users. Apparently that's our most used platform for listening to podcasts.
If you're on Overcast right now, you're holding it all together for us. Thank you.
Thank you. You can send us an email to tell us you're using Overcast at makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com. You could also send us game ideas. We've read game ideas on the podcast before from listeners, words that we can use to make a game, all this fun stuff. You can find us on social media at MakeThatGamePod. You can find us on Twitch, twitch.tv/MakeThatGame, and you should follow us and make sure those notifications are alive and well, because we will go live in March. We just haven't decided what we're doing
We'll
yet.
tell you when we do.
Yes.
We'll give you at least one podcast's worth of warning.
Exactly.
And to go back on the game ideas thing, if you're one of those people that gives me game ideas not via email, the reason it hasn't been read is because you haven't sent an email. There are people sending me game ideas on like Messenger and Discord. Ooh. And I'm like, send that to the email.
All you have to do is copy paste it.
Don't approach me as a private citizen. Mm-hmm. You have to approach
makethatgamepodcast@gmail.com.
I, as a private citizen, don't care about your game ideas. I come up with my own. Yeah. Okay? Send them to the email.
Send them to the email. That sounded really pointed. So, yeah.
So if you're one of the people that does that to me, I'm calling you out right now. Maybe you need to hear it from my voice and not from my words. Yeah. All right. Anyways.
Yeah. So we're also on YouTube, youtube.com/@MakeThatGame. And we are posting our lives there, so you can watch that. If you missed the Rogue-like Light challenge, you can watch that.
I called it Rogathon.
I like that a lot.
It's like Toyotathon.
When I was typing about it, I kept spelling rouge like
most common misspelling in the world.
Yeah. Anyway, if you heard a game today that you think is really awesome, we encourage you to not get sued by Disney, but still go out there and
make that game.